Okay, I want to go over a couple tools. I want to start another project. Yeah?
Mhm.
Josh?
I'm excited for this next project. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
I've been liking using Illustrator.
Can't wait.
Illustrator's a bitchin' program, man. Yeah?
It's cool. I didn't think I would like it this much, in all honesty.
Almost everybody says that. It's weird. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I only used it to do pixel art, and that was it because I didn't know anything else on how to do it.
What do you mean Pixar?
Pixel art, like in like bits.
Oh, okay.
That's all I knew how to do there.
I think it's a really cool program. And I am the king of cool. Let's be honest.
There's a cool pixel art program called Aspert, I think. Aspert?
Yeah, Sprite. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you used that one?
I basically get like a grid, put it over the artboard, and I just use the fill-in for each little sprite box in there.
That's cool.
You could also go in. You could also go in and use. I think it's Mosaic or it's Pixelate in Photoshop, and just assign how many tiles you want, and it'll break it down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I never used it though. It's always
Well,
always
maybe you should.
Right, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this real quick. I want to do an infographic project. Okay. Now, this can be a process. It could be, I saw a really cool one recently. I love infographics, like when they take very complex things and they make them understandable. Does that make sense? So I never quite understood how the whole action when they landed on the moon, how that all happened and everything. And I saw this really cool, and it was like a 2-page spread, and it just showed the whole process. It was really well illustrated. I saved it, but I don't know what I did with it. You know, and it just made it all comprehensive. These are like, I had somebody who worked at Disneyland, and there was like some kind of parking problem or something there. And he had this idea about it or whatever, and he did an infographic of that. And he could have, I think he wanted to use it to present it at work and go, hey, what if we do this? Does that make sense? Now, so these are maps. If you're going to do a map, make it fun. Whatever you're going to do here, you want to make it fun, engaging, and really informational. Yeah. So look, here's different ways. Don't do this. I had a guy in here, and he's a video game nerd, and every project I gave him, he's like, can I do the history of video games? I'm like, can't you ever think of anything other than video games? Really? You 12-year-old? And what are you going to do? Fill your portfolio up with that crap? You know what I mean? They're just going to go, oh, this guy's a fanboy. He's not serious. You know what I mean? Rant number one, old man rant number one for the day. Okay, here's another map.
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh, pretty.
Another approach, topographical information, call outs.
Wait, what was
Skirt links? Wait, what?
on Flickr? Wait, hold on.
I never even noticed what this was about, actually.
All right, the more you know.
I thought it was about some kind of environmental thing. That's interesting. Skirt links on Flickr.com. Number of skirt wearers and their locations. Okay, I don't even know what that means.
Okay.
Okay, this is a much more complex sort of rendered idea here, right? I always like this one, this breakdown. Right? So translation, I mean, you can get really clever with this. And then I've had people over the years do really cool ideas. Like I had one girl who did I think she did like how to bake a cake or something, and started off like really dry. And then I go, why don't you like make some of the ingredients characters? And end up being really fun and sort of very animated looking. It was really fun. I've had people do all sorts of things. I had one do she was interested in the water problem that's going on in Central California, and she did it on that. And then there's also things like this. Like that one's a map of Disneyland. Right? I want to do one for up here just for fun, to show like certain cool places up here. And I just do it because I want to do it because it's fun. but I'll probably have them printed. I'll give my girlfriend, just put it on the counter, and people come in. She can go, hey, here's Heart Rock, and here's this, and here's that. No other restaurants on it, just cool stuff to do, right?
Mm.
It's starting to get hip up here, believe it or not. We're getting a lot of cool little boutiques and people, stuff like that. It's cool.
Sweet.
Okay, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Now, the process, it can be a process. It could be, you could look at it as something like for National Geographic is talking about, like I said, the agricultural water problem and something, whatever you want. African elephants and how they're hunted, or whatever you're into, it doesn't matter to me. But what I am interested in is, I don't want to see fan art. Okay. Like, don't go, I'm really into Pokemon, so I'm going to do something. Don't do that. Do something that's cool. What I'm really interested in is how clever you can get with it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's just go over a couple of simple tools. So let's start with there's some tools like for this kind of thing. The way this tool works here, let me find it right here. So I'm gonna go take this off. And if you look right here, these are all different graphs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I click one of these, it's going to get, let's say this is the first one. It's going to give me this sort of Excel looking sheet. And these are where I'm putting in my values or whatever it is. And I'm not mathematical, so don't ask me any of those kind of questions. And then right here, I'm going to go click it. Oh, that's weird. Why did it do that? Oh, I didn't put in the right coordinates. Hang on. That's weird. I don't know why it did that, actually. Let's do this again. Oh, this is why. So I'm going to put in, let's say 3 inches and width, I don't know, 5 inches. So for some reason, God damn it. For some reason, it wants you to put in the size of this thing first, which I think is weird. Let's try this again. 5 by 3. Okay. I'm going to go 5, 9, 5, 6, 2, 3. There it goes. Okay, so see how it gives you that?
Yeah.
Now, what's weird to me about it is, so I'm going to go, okay, that's fine. Now, I think I can come in here. Now, I can't, the thing that's weird is I can't resize it, but let's try something here. Yeah, I don't think you can resize it, which is super weird to me. So let's take this. And I could change those, and I could come over here and maybe put words here, what these represent, things like that. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Now, if you go through these, like let's go, they has all these different versions of it, right? But pretty much, I think all of them, if I click on it, and it's 5 by 3 inches, it's going to give me this same, let's go 14, 45, 12, 14, 26. and go right here, check mark, boom. It gives me that, which actually is a really handy thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, there.
Cool.
So again, I can come in here and I can individually go, I don't want that to be that color. I want it to be this color. Because maybe it corresponds to something else I've already done. Oops. Got to select it with a white arrow tool. So you're just selecting that one section. And boom, boom, boom. That actually is really handy because once in a while, like in the office or something, you know, you might be, you know, or if you do this kind of work, then it's really helpful. But sometimes they'll be doing a presentation and you want, hey, can we get a pie chart for this or something, you know, something they're presenting, and I don't want to figure it out. You know what I mean? And this way I don't have to figure it out. The weird thing though to me is that you can't resize them. That's what's weird to me. Yeah, I don't think you can. I tried to expand it up here to see if that would do it, but it doesn't. So anyway, you just have to know what size you want. Yeah? Simple?
Yeah.
Okay, now over here where we had our width tool, so let's just grab that. Get a couple of these. And these are really simple, self-explanatory. What I'm going to want on Wednesday, you guys, are thumbnails.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Just ideas. Really loose, really simple.
It'd be either a map or something like statistics.
It could be a process. It could be, let me see if I can find something real quick here. Let's see. Here's some. Now, the ones I'm looking for, all these are just different ways of doing this. What I'm really looking for is something a little more in depth. Let's try this.
Not just a wall of text, right?
Yeah, I'm looking for, let me see if I can find one.
Images or visuals.
Like this one's a little more involved. We want something that's pretty visual. I'll try and find a couple more, sort of like the ones I was showing you, but the space one was cool because it was like 2-page spread. You know, it had a total environment, and then it just had like, you know, how they took off, how when, you know, the orbit idea or whatever, then it's in space, and how the limb and the thing had to separate, and then this turns around and does this, and it just had the whole thing, but it was like a big scene. Does that make sense? It wasn't just like, here's how it did this, and then it did this, and it didn't do that. It had it as a big scene, and then it sort of had a trajectory. Now, sometimes they'll incorporate down here a timeline down across the bottom, and it's corresponding to that up there, you know. But what we're trying to get to is something that's interesting looking. So like I'm saying, it could be a process. It could be something that's going on in the news right now. It could be like that Capitol riot. When that Capitol riot happened, some guy was on YouTube or something, and he was going, hey, all you assholes that just went that did that Capitol thing, here's what's going to happen. Because he was like an IT guy or something, or computer science guy. He goes, underneath the Capitol, there's this blah, blah, blah. And they have these sensors, and it does this, and it's going to capture your Wi-Fi, and they capture all this data, and they do this, and they do that. And he's sort of talking about the infrastructure of it and how it all worked. That would be an interesting infographic. Right?
Mhm.
What's the matter, Josh?
It just sounds like such a specific infographic, but it sounds cool. Sounds like it'd be fun to do.
The reason I think about stuff like that is like he was talking about a bunch of stuff. It's like, never even thought of any of this.
Yeah.
Like there's all this hidden, or like Disneyland. Disneyland has a whole city underneath Disneyland. You know what I mean?
Nice.
They have a whole
Yeah.
underground giant, you know, infrastructure down there.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
click on that one that says astronomy on the right. I'm gonna look at it.
Up here or over here?
Yeah, and to the right, lower, a little
That one?
lower. One more
This
down.
one?
That one. Yeah, let me see it.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Cute.
You see it?
Yeah, thank you. That's cute.
You know what's a bitchin' place, by the way? You guys ever go up to the Mount Wilson Observatory?
Once, long time ago.
You should go up there. It's like total science fictioned out, man. Like retro science fiction. It's bitchin', man. And then like if you go into you can go into the, because I went there when I was a kid. Then I went there not too long ago, and they have multiple these kind of observatory things on it. So it looks all Star Trek. And then you can go in one of them, and when you go into this telescope, because they were built like in the early part of 1900s or whatever, it totally looks like a Bond villain's lair. Like it's all this old, crazy, weird technology. It's super cool, man. They got all these like antenna arrays and all this. It just looks really cool, man. I want to go back up there and paint. Anyway. So you guys get the point, right?
Yeah.
What's this? Look at this. That's a cool one.
Mhm.
For a high-rise zoo.
What is it?
About rain or water?
High-rise zoo is what it says on the top.
Is it?
Animal
Oh.
communities that can be confined in a narrow space.
Oh.
See, that's interesting. See, that's interesting. Right?
Is there a way to do the isometric perspective grid?
You could do it with the perspective grid. Oh, isometric.
Yeah.
You know what I don't know. Let me see.
You have to guess or just something.
There's the dreaded grid. Now I forgot where my options are here. Where are my options here? Here it is. I don't see an option for that.
Okay, so I'd probably just do it on Photoshop. Transfer
Yeah,
it.
or I might just set it up. I might even just, because it's isometric,
Mhm.
I might even just, yeah, you could, I mean, I could do it in Illustrator or Photoshop, or I could just do it on paper and take a picture of it and pull it in and use it as a guide.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not, isometric doesn't actually have any perspective really.
Yeah.
But,
I was just
or,
thinking to lock it into place.
yeah, I get it. I don't think it has that.
Okay, no worries.
And I don't know. Photoshop doesn't even have a perspective grid.
Right. Yeah.
Which is like completely mind blowing to me. You know what I mean?
Make it yourself.
Yeah.
I probably said this in here. Photoshop or Adobe is like starting to lag a little bit, and the world is changing a little bit.
Mhm.
So they've been fat and happy for a long time because their attitude has been like, "What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Go use somebody else's Photoshop? Oh, that's right. There isn't any alternative. Oh yeah, okay, screw you, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're not going to fix
Procreate.
these bugs, huh?
Even Procreate has the grids.
Oh, Procreate has a great perspective grid, but also what I was going to
Yeah.
say about that is Procreate it put a pretty big ding in Photoshop,
Right.
and there's a lot of people. And what this is totally weird to me, how Adobe didn't go. You guys are making the iPad, okay?
Mhm.
Well, we're going to port all our products to that when it launches.
Yeah, they should have been on there day one.
Oh my God, it's such a huge miss. And then Procreate comes in and goes, "Hey, this is $10." And it's really good and it's really simple. And you can do all the stuff you want to do in it, like as regards to painting and all that. On your iPad, and then all these people now have switched over to that. I know people don't even want to use Photoshop anymore.
Right.
A lot of people actually. Anyway, and it's like what, 20 bucks now? It was 10 bucks when I bought it.
It was 10 when I got it, but yeah, that was a little while ago now.
And then the perspective grid was like $2.
Oh,
Well, and the perspective grid is great in that thing. Like you can just
Yeah.
easily cant it and do, you know, whatever. I did that whole, I think I told you, I did that whole homeless housing development
Mhm.
in Procreate.
oh, nice.
I think I pulled it into Photoshop just to tweak some stuff and paint it a little bit, but I did pretty much. I went to the McDonald's over here, right by the lake, and I sat there for like 6 hours every day and just worked on this project and drank iced tea.
Nice.
And then when I went back, by the way, like 2 weeks later, they had locked the little plug,
they
put a lock on it. I thought that was such an asshole move.
just locked you out.
Yeah, they locked me out of that. But then I found one behind a little chair. You could barely see it, so I just started using that one.
Nice.
Okay, hang on. Where'd my so right here where you guys had your here's another stupid thing on Adobe. They switched in Photoshop. You don't have to constrain something's proportions now. You don't have to hold shift, right? Totally unnecessary, number one. Okay. But if you want to, you know, bend it or whatever, then you hit shift. So they just reversed it, right? So then you would go, oh, so that's going to go across the suite of the projects. Now it doesn't work in here. This still, you have to hold shift and go. Does that make sense? It just doesn't make sense. Okay. So right here where you're, where is it? Where the hell did my tool go? Oh, here it is. Where your width tool is right here. If you drop down here, it's got these kind of warp tools. So if I come in here, they do exactly what they say. What's nice about this is if I was doing like that organic thing we were doing, I might use this to make some rocks or something like that. Does that make sense? And then it has, and these are all pretty self-explanatory. This one's called Twirl. Why is that not getting smaller? That's weird. So there's Twirl, right? Pucker. Oops.
Oh.
There. Pucker. They're sort of like the ones in Photoshop. I think it's Photoshop.
Hello?
Oh no, it's in here. These are sort of hand versions of the ones that are up here. Look. Distort and transform. Free distort, pucker, bloat, rough, and blah, blah, blah. They're sort of like those. But you can use them with hand. Scallop. Crystalline. And, oops. Wrinkle. So, you know, I'll use them every now and then for something just organic. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But what's tripping me out here, hang on. I want to make my brush smaller, and it's not doing that. That's weird. Oh, here it is. So you can double click it and get these. Look, you can use pressure sensitive pen, intensity. So you can back off the intensity, the width. So I got this width huge. Let's go back here. Yeah, that's smaller. So you can double click it and you can adjust it. So here's your vertical adjustment, detail. Let's go all the way up and see what that does. Oh, does nothing now. Huh. So self-explanatory, right? And then I dropped a line drawing in there for you guys. Okay, so one thing too, because all these tools might come in handy for this project. Hang on. I don't know if we talked about this under the type tools right here. You can just go change case, uppercase, right? Or lowercase. Now let's make this red. And then I'm going to come up here. We might have talked about this a little bit, but, and I'm going to go to 3D Extrude and Bevel. And then right here, I'm going to hit Preview. And this cube right here is how I'm going to adjust how I'm looking at this thing. And then right here, I get all these different bevel options. Let's see if we can go closer on this. No, I can't. Classic, complex, and it'll just change the edge bevel. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can also go, I'm just going to go back to none. Plastic shading, wireframe, no shading, which doesn't really make sense. Diffuse shading, plastic shading, which I think is the default. Yeah. More options. We can come down here. We can change our lighting. All these different things here. Okay. And then there's some other stuff we'll talk about later on about that. Okay. So one more thing. Hang on. Now, if I want to go back and adjust that, I should be able to go appearance. And here's 3D bevel. And it brings it back up again. But let's do this. I'm going to just get a new one. Put this over here. Okay, so let's go back to Effect, 3D, Extrude, and Bevel. Got to hit Preview. And then I'm going to go, where is it? Right here where it says Extrude Depth. And I can drop down here. And I can adjust the depth of the extrusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can go here where it says cap and put no cap. So you'll just see into it. It'll look like a paper roll. Does that make sense? Let's look. See?
Oh.
Okay, does that all make sense?
Yeah.
So let's look at this. I put this up on the thing if you want to play with it. Well, I do want you to play with it. And I made this, I just traced it off a bottle. So let's look at this one first. So what this is, if I pull out Command R and I pull out my ruler, these line up top to bottom perfectly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go get rid of that. Now I'm going to go back up to, I'm going to select it, go Effect, 3D. Only this time I'm going to do Revolve. And here's a little trick to this. For some reason, you have to go, see it says from left edge. Watch what happens if I do that. You see, okay. But if I go from right edge, it does it correctly. Okay. So what it's doing obviously is it's taking that line and it's creating a 3D object out of it. Okay. Same idea here. So I can drop it down in whatever position. Now, if you look at it, hang on. Same thing here. I got all these choices right here. Angle. Let's see how that does. Oh, that's interesting. I never saw that before. That's interesting. So let's go back. 3D revolve from the right edge. Preview. And then if you look at the top of it, it's capped. Does that make sense? So what I did on this next one is I dropped it right here. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
The other one went straight across. So let's do this one. Oops, I didn't want to rotate. And let's go preview. Oh, from the right edge. And now it looks like there's no cap on it, and it's open, right? But if you notice, it'll go, there is a cap on it there. It's just that it's just recessed in. So if I recessed it down further, depending on the view I wanted to do, I could do that. Does that make sense?
Cool.
This work, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Adobe came out, and I need to get check it out. I haven't really checked it out. They came out with a program called Dimensions. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
It's part of the Creative Suite now, and I think it's a small program, but it does things like when you're doing package design and things like that, or product design, you do a lot of things where you might have something like this, and then you're going to render it, or it might even be a photograph of a bottle or whatever, and you want to wrap the label around it. It's a program that just does that kind of stuff, right? Like I used to go into Photoshop and do all that stuff, but now you basically could drag it in. I don't know how you set it up. It's probably very simple. And then it renders everything for you, and it all looks perfect, right? And again, if I want to go back to this, I got to go to, I don't know if I can go just to 3D. Let's see. Let's go to Revolve. This will apply another, let's see what happens if I do that. See, it doesn't want it, it's not reading it anymore. So probably if I want to go back and adjust it, I'd go to Appearance, click on 3D Revolve or whatever, and probably I could redo it here, I would think. And also, let's do this. There, change the color. So you change the line color to change the color. Does that make sense? Josh?
Yes. See, this is really cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
I hadn't seen this. Yeah.
Wait, I'm cool or this is cool?
This is cool.
Damn it. I always miss the mark. Yeah, it is. It's fun. And you can do a lot of weird stuff with it. Like the cool thing about this stuff is then I go, well, that's kind of interesting. And then I'll go on YouTube and find some kid who like does crazy stuff with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, you know, like they do stuff where you go, I never even thought of that, you know? You know, everybody works in different ways. And I'm going to show you another thing later. I don't want to get into that right now. So basically, the graphs thing I want you to play with, it's just putting in the numerical information, but I want you to play with it in case you need it. The 3D, this 3D, both 3Ds, the extrude, play with the bevel options and all that kind of stuff, your lighting, all that. And then revolve. And remember that it's always, you know, what's weird about it is it defaults from it saying turn it from the left, which always is wrong. So I don't know why they didn't default it to from the right. Because if you don't know how to use this tool, you're going to go, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, why would I know that, you know, that command, I wouldn't know. I mean, I'd probably click around and find it maybe, but okay. Questions about that? Okay. What I want Wednesday is thumbnails. Okay. I don't think I'm going to tell you how many to do, because at this point, I feel like you guys should be managing yourselves. Yeah. And you guys have been, you've been doing a good job of it. And then I want to have a discussion around that. But make sure you find an interesting subject matter. Yeah. Or even find something that's like, could be very dry information that you make interesting. I think that would be a great portfolio piece personally, especially if you're a graphic designer, to show like a very complex something like that ecosystem one we were just looking at in a clever way. That to me shows thinking, shows problem solving. It shows clarity of thought and clarity of presentation, communication of ideas, and understanding complex ideas and breaking them down into very visual, communicative presentations, right? It's valuable. And also, like if I was hiring, let's say you had that in there, but I was hiring you for a different thing, I'd probably look at that and go, that shows really good problem solving. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Because if you're hiring somebody on a creative for a creative job, that's what you're looking for. You want somebody who's going to give you ideas, that you're not sitting there going, I got this idea, and they're going, yeah, that's a good idea. Well, what do you think? Well, I think it's cool. It's like, I know, I need ideas. Like, give me ideas. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the only person generating ideas. So that those kind of things show me stuff like that: problem solving, critical thinking, conceptual thinking, and really clear. I love infographics. Okay. When I find those kind of things where it explains these complex things in a simple way, I just think that's really satisfying. Does that make sense? Ray,
Yeah.
this is a good one for you.
Yeah, I was looking up some infographics on my phone right now. I don't know, I'm still having kind of like a trouble like finding a subject to do.
Well, I just told you what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
A little bit. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is that you have the way you approach everything that I've seen is you're very organized and methodical. So this should be right up your alley.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good skill, by the way. Okay, you guys, I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to put this up as a exercise, but I expect you guys to do it. Does that make sense? I mean, this is going to take you half an hour probably, right? And again, a lot of these tools are going to come in handy on this project. Give me some thumbnails. You can just take pictures of them. Don't give me one, just, work it out. I don't expect anything super finished or anything. I just want to be able to understand what the idea is. And then you can talk me through it. Yeah. And like I said, if you're doing it, if you do them on the Cintiq, that's fine too. But if you're doing them by hand, just take a picture of it and throw it in the folder. Yeah. Okay, guys. I already took roll. There's no other questions, right? Okay. Use those 3 tools. Give me my thumbnails and we'll go over them on Wednesday and start this project. Okay.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Thanks, you guys.